Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Doubleheader with Amir and Keenan. As you may know, NFL is back, and to begin, let's bring out the checklist. Fans, check. Lights, check. Radio and television, check. Merchandise, check. Players and coaches, check. The playing field, we have a red X here. What's going on? Well, you're about to find out in this episode.
All right, Amir, welcome back, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. NFL season's fast approaching, and what do you know? We have a podcast episode dedicated to, well, football being back, but not quite.
Right, absolutely. And before we get into that, did you enjoy your little vacation time?
I did. It was very nice to be back, go back to Portugal, and also go to Morocco and Spain for the first time.
Ah, okay, that's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. We'll discuss that after the show here. But first, we got some preseason preseason headlines to take care of from 2001. So ready to get started?
I'm ready.
All right. So first up, we got 2001 preseason game. And what are your thoughts of who the teams are going to be for this upcoming matchup?
Well, from what I read, I know the visiting team, the Baltimore Ravens, they are defending Super Bowl champions. The expectation against they're going to be favorites to get there, if not win it all. But the team they're facing, the Eagles, I heard they're a very good team in their own. They have Super Bowl aspirations, so that's both teams are going to go in this game knowing, hey, we're get to go to the Super Bowl. We got to play like it, especially the players looking fighting for a roster spot, especially on the Ravens, because I learned NFL came up with this thing called Hard Knocks, inside look of training camps.
Yeah, that's a good point, and those are good predictions on what the teams are going to be. And let's see if you're right. And folks, let's see. Drum roll, please. You are correct. The teams are the Ravens and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Baltimore Ravens at that. Uh, so without further ado, what what do these two teams have to do with the 2001 preseason game? Well, the headlines consist of a mix of a new season approaching. The Philadelphia Eagles are ready to take on the Baltimore Ravens in a preseason matchup. Okay, this season was used in the first Hard Knocks, and the Ravens were the defending Super Bowl champions. Okay, I like it. And Amir, you're 100% right on the money.
Thank you.
Well, next up, we have some more quick notes from this game here that took place. So it was Monday, August 13th, 2001. The broadcast team and network, Dick Stockton, Troy Aikman, and Daryl Johnson were for Fox at the time. Which started, excuse me, the game started at 7:30 p.m. And the AstroTurf. Now, this is a uh, very important note to keep in mind, folks. The AstroTurf was used for the Philadelphia Phillies and used the same stadium that was put down to cause cancer to baseball players alike. The turf was also resulted in the career-ending leg and knee injuries. But luck, so Amir, before I get into the next bullet point here, do you have any examples or any backstory on that? Why the cancer may have caused, uh, injuries or other factors to certain players?
Well, yeah, because Veterans Stadium was Okay, we're gonna go back when they first introduced AstroTurf in like the late '60s and '70s. It was a bit in their mind easier to take care of compared to grass because of course you got to cut it, treat it, and what have you. As time went along, AstroTurf proved to be just as hard to keep, which was proving to be much harder to keep in condition because it's hard in the winter, not so you want to fall on during the summer because of the heat, because it absorbs it. And one of the most notorious stadiums that had AstroTurf was Veterans Stadium. Players would both for the Eagles, Phillies, and opposing teams would have when they get injured on the turf. It was so bad, and sometimes some players, I know a player from the Bears, he ended up tearing ligaments in his knees, boy amputation, but his career came to an end. And then years later, players from the Phillies were coming down with cancer because it was the material was made of like silicone and mercury, which is very toxic to humans. So as a replacement for that, they figured why not use this next turf because it looks resembles grass. It's safer supposedly, and players won't get hurt.
Right. That's a good point to end on. So luckily enough, that was not the case for the Baltimore and Philadelphia matchup coming up due to having using a new brand called Next Turf. So Amir, if any if any of our viewers don't know what Next Turf is, do you happen to know any information about that as well?
Yeah, next turf was supposed is like softer and made of rubber, resemble grass, and it was supposed to be safe for the players. So, like I said, with natural turf, it was hard. It was had players would fall on it, it would cut their skin, obviously do damage to their knees and legs, and also take a longer time for their bodies to recover. But this next turf, they could be softer, players won't get injured as much, and their bodies will recover much faster.
Hmm. Okay, good to know. So, folks, if you know a thing or two about Next Turf, that's great. If you don't, Amir just explained it pretty well. So, Amir, thank you on that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right. So, without further ado, with that being said, everything looks good. When it comes to this game, right? Right.
Yeah, I mean, should be good to go. It's supposed to be safe,
Well,
supposedly,
ooh,
or not.
yeah. No, it does not look good here, folks. So,
Hmm.
when it comes to the start time, scheduled for 7:30 p.m., which originally pushed back 35 minutes at 8 or 9, there's the stadium announced at the time that the game was temporarily suspended, and fans who were offered a full refund immediately began to boo. And I kid you not, when they heard that announcement over the intercom, fans started throwing stuff at the ticket office, in the stadium, and and damage was fully caused. Glass was shattered. People were upset, and yeah, they were upset they weren't able to see, the defending champion Ravens, trying to put on a good show for the fans. And as you could see here in the small picture here, I know it's hard to see for if you have having a tough time, but yeah, not good, not good at all.
Hmm.
And so the coach of the Ravens at the time, Brian Billick, if I'm saying that correctly.
Hmm.
Okay, saying that his team was not going to play on the field unless the situation was fixed. And Billick was the one who discovered the turf was in bad shape. I discovered it he went to give at the 47-yard line. And here's a quick clip on the conversation between the official and Bill uh, and Bill Billick at the time of this.
Come here, Seams. Come here. Put this on TV.
Hey, Brian, I'm the original. Look. I did the original story of this guy.
There's a 2-inch give in here.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. This is where. Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah. We're gonna put our team on this, huh? We got a grounds guy here.
Yeah, I'm just AstroTurf.
Okay, we ain't playing unless that gets fixed. I want you to look at the give here.
You got it.
Okay, and then it's all the way down. I don't know whether you can peel it up. Look at that. I can't get to the bottom of that one. Tell Coach Reed I'd like to see him out here.
Where the nailer is, where the dirt runs up against the nailer.
Who did this?
The Phillies grounds crew.
I want to see what this thing looks like when they peel this off.
No.
So after hearing that clip, Amir, what are your thoughts with Mr. Billick with the officials?
Yeah, and yeah, I never seen this on Hard Knocks, and Phillips' concerns were justified because the players, safety is at risk here because there's a dividend given in the field, and if a player were to step on that, as I mentioned earlier, it could not only injure their knee, leg, or foot, it can end their career. And like I said, there's players on the Eagles and Ravens fighting for roster spots, and the last thing they want to have their season or careers come to an end due to poor field conditions.
Yeah. And just to hear, part of that quote that I just mentioned earlier about, you know, Bill or Brian, excuse me, Brian, not Bill. But he wanted, to make sure, like, hey, if we want this turf to be safe, unless or we don't play, and come to realize that, you know, it came from parts of the MLB and stuff like that. Agreed?
Yeah, because this is like early mid August, and MLB season's still in play, and the Eagles are at this time sharing team with the Phillies, so their season's still in session. Therefore, and that's the case with a lot of these multi-purpose stadiums. Even today, that they host so many events, short time span, they got to get everything, organized or reorganized, and sometimes it's not everything's ready. In this case, the field isn't ready.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it for sure. And just hearing some of those comments after Mr. Billup saying like, "Hey, we won't come up this field. We won't play until the field is fixed." And just to hear like some of the situation with turf and what MLB would have to do with some of this, like you said, it's definitely an eye opener. So unfortunately, with this, the game was unfortunately canceled due to those turf issues. And with that, fans were outraged, like I said in the earlier slide. And I should have said this a little bit sooner, but it's okay. That's a good segue from that. But anywho, the fans were outraged by the decision to have the game officially canceled. It got so bad, fans threw some cans and other stuff on the field. Like I said, even worse, fans started to punch the ticket. Will call office moves. Fans were arrested due to those following actions. So I did not said that before, and just to see some of that sort of action with fans is kind of shocking. But you never know what people can do. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, being that this game took place in Philadelphia, I'm not surprised. Eagle Philly sports fans, especially the Eagle fans, they've been known to be obnoxious and let their emotion wear their emotions on their sleeves, and they even booed Santa Claus many years ago. So for their infamous for doing that, and so be upset that their team, the game being canceled, is not surprising. Due in fact that they waited since the spring for this game to happen, and then it's like it was all for nothing.
Yeah, it's it's unfortunate, what Philadelphia fans can go through and what they can express, and we've seen that over the years with the NBA, the MLB, and the NFL. Sure, they're passionate about their teams, and sometimes they take it a little too far. No offense to any Philadelphia fans watching, like we love all of our fans that come and join us every week and come check us out and if need be. But you know, we're just going to the information and some facts about it. So with that, Andy Reid had this to say about the situation and about the game being canceled, and the turf if and the turf issues, and within the NFL's decision. So we have a clip here of Andy Reid speaking to the media as soon as the game was called.
From my standpoint, I'm embarrassed for putting Brian and the Ravens through the travel here. My players, this is a very emotional game, and the players were looking forward to playing in this game, and they prepared themselves both mentally and physically to do that. And even though it's a game, we take this thing very serious, and I'm disappointed that the people that prepared the surface did not take it into their hands and prepare themselves as diligent. And I think we all have jobs to do, and I've said this before, I'm a firm believer that we all do our jobs to the best of our abilities, and I don't feel that happened. Again, this was a joint action that took place between both teams, their officials, the coaches, and the player reps, and inevitably it was decided by the league. But again, I'm disappointed in the situation.
So, to do their jobs, we all have a job to do. I'm just paraphrasing at this point. So, Amir, your thoughts?
Yeah, and I understand. And Randy was right. I mean, because again, players' safety is the issue. Because once again, got players, veteran players, rookies, and undrafted free agents, fighting for the roster spot, but also at the same time, don't want to get anybody hurt. And that being said, going back to the players, again, they've been waiting a long time to get back on the field. I mean, Ravens have been since January since they last played a game, and the Eagles it was like mid-January, and then got the rookies. They're ready. They're looking forward to their first NFL action, and unfortunately, they had to wait a few days because this field's in bad condition. And getting back to the fans, I mean, you're upset with your team. The game got canceled, but at the same time, do you want to see your favorite players get hurt because of the field? I don't want to see that.
Neither do I. And, safety is important to the game and for any type of sports in general. Just look at the Olympics this week, and people, people or athletes deal with minor injuries and try to fight through them, sure. But when it comes to like an NFL game, first thing that should be on a person's mind is this person ready to play? Is the team ready to play? Are they healthy enough to go out there and compete? Is the field ready to go? Because some people might not realize this, and I hope they do, is that the field needs to be ready at all costs, no matter what the conditions are and should be for that particular game. When it comes to snow, rain, and even a hot sunny day in the September months and even the later summer months as well. And that's what's important in my eyes is that the fans should have an opportunity to see that, but they should keep in mind that certain things should be ready to go at a particular manner. But it is a disappointing statement from Mr. Andy Reid, and like you said, Amir, it's important for teams to be ready from this.
Exactly.
So, what was that? With the cancellation of the game, however, we did get some results from the other preseason games, and it wasn't a lockout season or anything like that. It wasn't anything like that. No, no, no. But anyways, the preseason results consist of the Eagles' rest of the season, despite the turf issues that took place against the Ravens. So the Philadelphia finished with a 2-1 record, being the teams of the Tennessee Titans and the New York Jets. That's pretty good there. Yeah. So Amir, so despite having this Ravens game being canceled, what are your thoughts on the other matchups that took place later on?
Well, I mean, they're able to go on without issue. I know the Ravens, they being on Hard Knocks, their remaining preseason games were televised on there, so a lot of games got a lot more attention. So that being said, I know again players are able to get on the field. The rookies were able to showcase what they got and undrafted free agents, and therefore, on the opening day, those players either made the roster and then others did not.
Yeah. And again, it's an audition for players because they need a certain amount of players to make the team and make the cut. And it's hard for these players that want to have an opportunity, and some of them make it, some of them unfortunately do not.
Mhm. And one more thing to get back to, 'cause the other reason why this Brian Bill was very concerned with the field because he just lost a player in training camp, Jamal Lewis, to an injury, and he didn't want to lose any more players going into the season. 'Cause keep in mind, they're also defending world champions, and they want to keep a healthy roster going into week one in order to defend your championship. And last thing you already lost one player. Now you don't want to lose any more due to the field. And then keep that in mind. Cause also with the preseason with with cuts, they got not they got it goes from like 75 to 25, and they got a 75 45 to 25, and not a lot of time to like. It's a short window to evaluate which players you're going to keep and which ones you're going to let go, and also you got to see how and also assign new players to keep add depth to your roster.
Exactly. So looking at the actually the regular season here real fast for both of these teams. So the Eagles were able to have a pretty good season overall in the 01-02 season, finishing it with a record of 11-5, with of course Andy Reid as head coach. Cornerback Donovan McNabb going for 285 for 493 passing, 25 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions, and the Eagles made it to the playoffs, making an appearance in the NFC Championship game, which ended up losing to the St. Louis Rams. So, Amir, do you know anything about the 01-02 Philadelphia Eagles season?
Yep, played their first game at home against the Rams, and it was a 17-3 game going this fourth quarter, but the Eagles managed to tie it up. Unfortunately, the rally fell short, but they were able to bounce back from that defeat, win 11 games in their first NFC title in 2 decades, and that helped them host a playoff game. They beat the Bucks, and then routed the Bears at Soldier Field, and faced the Rams again in the NFC Championship game, and gave them a run for the money, but again fell 5 points short.
Yep, that pretty that pretty much sums it up well. And Donovan McNabb had a outstanding stat line that season, and Andy Reid, you know, starting out with Philadelphia at first, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yep. This is
Yep,
his third year with the Eagles.
yep. And as fans know today, he's won a few championships with the Kansas City Chiefs, which we'll probably get to in a later episode down the road. So stay tuned for that, folks.
Hmm.
So as for the Ravens, they were able to finish with a record of 10-6 under Brian Billick, with quarterback Elvis Gerbic, if I'm saying that correctly. Elvis Gerbic?
Gerback.
Gerback. Going for 265 yards, 265 for 467 passing, 15 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, and Gerback missed 2 games due to an injury. And despite the stats and performance by the team, the Ravens were in the playoffs, beating the Miami Dolphins in the wildcard game 20-3, but ended up losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the divisional round. With Ellis Gerbeck going for 18 for 37, 0 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Now, Amir, time for the other side of the coin. The coin here, Ravens. What do you know about their season?
Yeah, they still did good defensively, but offensively it was a struggle. Again, Jamal Lewis being out for this, getting injured during training camp, and then Alice Gerback, who was thought to be a improvement over Trent Dilfer, a man who we covered in our first episode, who who led them to their Super Bowl. Well, fortunately, he was not resigned. They figured, well, we'll sign those quarterbacks. He's coming off a Pro Bowl season in Kansas City, and Unfortunately, that success with Kansas City didn't follow to Baltimore, as the stats will say right here. And unfortunately, after that game against the Steelers, Gerber was not resigned and he was out of the league and never played again.
Wow, I did not know that after doing research on this, and that's good to know. So with the audio files here, and with the audio from Mr. Billick, and I'll go ahead and put the title card in the upper right hand corner of your screen, and I'll put the link in the description box down below if you want to check that video out. It's a good 40 to 45 minute documentary. It's a more of an episode really. Uh, gives 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 a lot of information, and it was a good key point when it came to the turf situation. So I'll put the card and put the link in the upper right hand corner of your screen. I'll put the link in the description box down below. So with that, that is the end of my presentation. And coming up next, we have another turf turf uh, turf story that involves another familiar team that we probably talked about on this channel. But that's coming up next on Double Header. You're listening to Double Header. Be sure to like and subscribe.
All right, we're back. So you got to hear Keenan's story, which involved this game right here, between the Eagles and the Ravens. Well, now we fast forward 15 years later to the Hall of Fame game, where that's the start of the NFL season. But unfortunately, on this day, that would have to wait. So to begin, Keenan, have you ever been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Um, I, I have not to be honest with you, but I would love to check that out someday on my um on my vacation days. So that's definitely on my bucket list.
Well, all right. Well, it's definitely worth. You definitely going to enjoy it because I went there in 2012. Lot to see, a lot of artifacts, history of pro football, not just NFL, but also other leagues. And that year was 2012. That was when Curtis Martin, Chris Dolman, Willie Rowe, a few more players I can't name off the top of my head were inducted. And also the day later, Andrew Luck played a game against the Dolphins, and his jersey got donated to the Hall of Fame later that week. And I bring him up for this reason because his team plays a factor in this story. So, might recognize some of these players here, Keenan, and members, I should say.
Yeah, I certainly do for sure. We got some pretty big names on here, folks. So we got Brett Favre, and I know who wears 88, but I'm excuse me, I'm drawing a blank on the 88 jersey number.
And that is Marvin Harrison, and then there's the names of who were inducted that year. So Eddie DeBartolo Jr., Tony Dungy, Brett Favre, Kevin Green, Marvin Harrison, Orlando Pace, Ken Stabler, and Dick Stanfeld, class of 2016. That was announced at the NFL Honors on February the 6th, with the Sharpe ceremony taking place on August the 6th. And I want you to take note of that date right here, because that's going to play a factor down the line. That, folks, both YouTube and Spotify listeners, have a pen and paper out and a notepad to be some note taking and go along with this presentation. So, with that being said, teams. So, of course, every year after they make the announcement for that class, they have their Hall of Fame game. Who do you think is going to take place in the 2016 Hall of Fame game, Keenan?
I'm gonna say the Indianapolis Colts versus the Green Bay Packers. Those are my two predictions.
All right, let's see if you're correct. And you're right. It'll be the Packers and the Colts in honor of Tony Dungy and Marvin Harrison for the Colts and Brett Favre for the Packers. And that game will take place on August the 7th, 2016. So one day after the enshrinement ceremony, which has been the case since they started doing the Hall of Fame game back in 1963 when the Hall of Fame opened. And that matchup was announced on February 16th, 10 days after the class of 2016 was announced at the NFL Honors. So, and folks, please take note of that. So, of course, fast forward to August, get to the game. So we got a few changes to the Hall of Fame and the broadcast team. Might recognize some faces here, Keenan.
Sure do. Lisa Salters on the bottom there, and John Gooden and Sean. Yeah, actually, yeah, I recognize all three of these wonderful people here.
Yep. So, as you may know, usually it's NBC that does the Hall of Fame game, but then this is a leap year. NBC was covering the Olympics, so ESPN was given the rights to do the Hall of Fame game. Of course, coming back for ESPN Monday Night Crew was John Gruden and Lisa Salters, but this will also be the first game for Sean McDonough because Mike Tirico, part worldwide leader in sports, joined NBC in the spring, and that's why so therefore they replaced his first replacement with Mr. Sean McDonough, who had experience calling NFL for CBS back in the 90s when they had the NFC package. So it's going to be familiar territory for Mr. McDonough, and also be the first thing ESPN will be doing the Hall of Fame game. Because just in NBC, ABC also did the Hall of Fame game when they had the Monday Night package back in the day. But also, you might notice these two stadiums right here.
Kind of hard to see a little bit, but I recognize. I don't know if you can. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Awfully recognizable stadiums, but I forgot where they're located.
Well, the stadium on the bottom right, that is Fawcett Stadium. That's where they play the Hall of Fame game. But that was the name of the stadium until 2016 when former Saints owner Tom Benson, donated some money to their expansion, which was $200 million. And in honor of him, they renamed the stadium Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. So this is a new broadcasting crew calling the Hall of Fame game. The Hall of Fame Stadium has a new name as well, and that was $137 million of a $200 million expansion because they were going to expand the Hall of Fame, make it a village, and bigger for the fans and the players alike. Look at the stadium right here; it looks more like a high school stadium, whereas this image here resembles more of an NFL stadium.
Yeah, I see that now. I see that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got a new broadcasting crew. We got a new stadium. As for the ceremony, getting back to August 6th, if you all took notes, we got, of course, speeches. Of course, Marvin Harrison went first. Started his speech around 7 o'clock, lasted 11 minutes, 25 seconds. And then Brett Favre went last with his speech lasting 37 minutes and 18 seconds. But that's not the main reason why I bring this up. I want you to take note of this picture right here, Keenan, or in the case of our viewers on Spotify, the site, Tom Benson Stadium. So,
Okay, all right.
hope everyone wrote that down. There's a reason why you're going to find out in the next slide why this is important. So, speeches are done. Everyone's giving their speech. All right, got to get cleaned up for the game because August 6th, 2016, it's game day. Indianapolis Colts will host the Green Bay Packers. Or is it? What's going on here? They got the players out, but something's not right here, Keenan.
Just like the Philadelphia game, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Seems to be the problem. Okay. Pre-game warm-ups. Of course, got to get that in. Stretch your legs out, do some routes, run around. And, of course, Packers and Colts players are doing that. And all of a sudden, Packers player looks down, and he can't get his cleat out of the Hall of Fame logo at midfield. Says, hey, folks, I'm stuck. Got a piece of the stadium in my cleats. That's not good.
No, that's it's kind of like it's kind of like stepping in a cement and you can't get out, right?
Yeah, and unfortunately, other players were having the same problem. They're like, "Wait a minute, this this turf's sticky. This stuff. Why is my cleats white? Nothing's wrong." And and here's why.
The field staff had used the wrong paint. Oh no, this is awful.
Yeah, because unfortunately, they had little time to get everything situated. 'Cause keep in mind, the day before they just gave the speeches, so they had the stage, they had bleacher seats out or polo seats out, excuse me, out on the field. So they had to clear those off, and get the field ready in time for the game on August 6th. And of course, the midfield see here barely you see Mr. Luck and a few Packer and Colts players. There's the Hall of Fame logo, but it looks faded.
Yeah, it does look faded from that angle. And real quick, what kind of what kind of paint are they supposed to use in this situation?
It was supposed to be gosh, I forgot what kind of paint it was, but the paint they're supposed to use was supposed to be dried by this point, and now unfortunately they used the wrong material, and as a result, it was still wet. They definitely painted it like a few hours after they got the stuff cleared out, but fortunately, it is not dry. It is not dry by the time the players came out for pregame warmups. So that being said, to address the issue, Spiel staff figured, well, let's drop some rubber pellets and spray solvent. That should do the trick, right?
Maybe.
Well, I don't think so, because it says right here to no avail.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, the rubber pellets, that didn't do it. And well, he's got the correct paint solvent, but now we gotta wait for that to dry. And unfortunately, it's 5:30. Game kicks off at 8. Um, you got 3 hours for that to dry. Not a lot of time, folks.
No, no, and it usually takes for that sort of paint to dry. You need like a few more than a few hours, more like a few days to let that dry out.
And just keep in mind, you got to paint the logo and the end zones as well, because and that's a lot of a lot of things to paint over, and a lot of stuff and it's going to take a long time to dry because it's a lot of surface area you're taking up. Because you can see right
Yeah,
there, Hall of Fame logo midfield.
yep, and it's kind of like I don't know if this is a good analogy or not, but it's kind of like painting a wall, like putting a new fresh coat of like wall paint on your wall, and you gotta wait for it to dry.
Yeah, and even with painting a picture, it takes a while for it to dry.
Yep, so that's a good analogy if you want to think of more examples in your head, folks. So it's kind of like waiting for like a wall for paint, for wall paint to dry, because maybe after a few hours and you touch the wall, like oh, not dry yet. Oh, not dry yet.
Yep. So yeah, so we gotta as paint was drying. This announcement was made.
All right, I'm
Uh,
gonna go ahead and read the statement here. Due to safety concerns with the conditions of the plane service in Canton, tonight's game between the Indianapolis Colts and the Green Bay Packers has been canceled. We are very disappointed for our fans, but player safety is our primary concern. Hmm,
yep. So
okay.
you see here, familiar theme, folks. Player safety is concerned, and as this announcement was made at the Hall of Fame, fans in attendance booed.
Now, was it bad as the outrage for the Philadelphia game? Did things get destroyed? Did things get thrown?
Luckily, nobody was throwing things on the field and destroying stuff. But we're gonna bring up the fans in this case again, because fans in this case, a lot of them paid round trip to get to Canton. So you got fans from Green Bay, Indianapolis, Charlotte, Oakland, what have you. You know, keep in mind our players are inducted in the Hall of Fame that weekend. Traveling to see this, pay for the hotel, go to the Hall of Fame, buy merchandise, meet the players, see the speeches, and see this game. And unfortunately, that didn't they didn't get a chance to see the game.
Yeah, and it's something you don't really see in other sports, really. You see in NASCAR uh, quite a bit, but from the NFL, it's a pretty cool situation to have that opportunity to meet players and check out the facility and buy merchandise like you said, and just to see all this go down is not fun at all. If you are a consumer buying a ticket to go on a flight or even driving to the stadium just to find out that the game has been postponed or canceled in this case.
Yeah, because I remember I was looking forward to this game when they announced it back in February, and I bring it up. Hope people kept that in mind because then they announced this back in February, 10 days after the announcing the inductees that this game would be played in August, and then we fast forward a few months to that summer, and this is the announcement: the game's not going to be played.
Yep.
It caught me by surprise when I learned that on NFL Network. Like, geez, I waited all this time for this game, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't recall um I don't recall seeing this on television anywhere, but this is a little bit new to me. But maybe maybe it'll come back to me later. But yeah, this is quite the story.
Yeah, because again, I was looking forward to the Hall of Fame game being broadcast on ESPN, and I can watch it on my phone, so I can televise the game on your phone in your area. And unfortunately, I had to wait a few weeks to hear, not see the Colts and Packers play, but also hear Sean McDonough call an NFL game for the first time. That was So it was unfortunate for the fans, for us watching this at our homes across the country. Because again, with the Hall of Fame game, that means the NFL season is here. Be it's a preseason game, but still.
Right. Hmm.
So with that being said, let's see. Well, what's the aftermath? Well, changes had to be made. So to prevent an issue from this happening again, the Hall of Fame game is played on Thursday. More so that way they play the game on Thursday, and the speeches will take place that Saturday at Tom Benton Stadium. So they had a solution to that. As for the Colts and Packers, they were able to play their four remaining preseason games. Because keep in mind when teams are picked for the Hall of Fame game, they're given five preseason games. Now it's four because as of 2021. And getting back to the Packers, they went 3-1 that year in the preseason, while the Colts split their four games. And they would meet again in Week 9 of the 2016 season at Lambeau, with Indy beating Green Bay 31-26, with a small delay with a score run onto the field. But luckily, that was nothing compared to what happened in August at Canton. I do remember that incident with the squirrel coming onto the field. It's like, geez,
Yeah.
first the Canton and now
Yeah.
Lambeau. What's going on here?
Yeah, actually, I do remember that myself. Actually, I think I saw it over social media. Actually, like a squirrel. I think it was hella like the commentators at the time. I don't remember their names, but like there's a squirrel on the field, and they had to like wait for it to clear out. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was Jim Nance and Bill Sims who called that game in November of that year, and yeah, they pride some comes there on the squirrel, because like whenever you see an NFL animal on the field, it's like you don't see it every day, but you know Getting back to the game that got canceled, we see a javelin and the NFL logo next to it, and that's not good.
No, it's not, folks. And Amir, I'll let you take it away.
Well, of course, with fans paying a lot of money to see this game that never happened, obviously they're going to want a refund. Well, good news. You had a ticket to the game, you you get a refund. That'll cost a total of $4 million. That was the total cost for all the fans that had a ticket to the game. But it doesn't end there because look at this one. Look at this total. Keenan.
Uh, 75,000. I'm reading that correctly.
Yep, or 7,500,000. But yeah,
100. 7,500. Gotcha.
and I want you to pay close attention to this date right there.
Almost a year ago, as we're recording this, so August 10th, 2023.
Yep, folks.
I
So
actually had,
sorry.
yeah, and you're fine. I actually had to look down to see what was today's date. When I saw the year, I'm like, man, that was almost a year ago. But anyway, continue.
Yeah. So as you heard from Keenan, yeah, folks on Spotify, yeah, August 10th, 2023. It's yeah, this is how long with court things going to court. They take years to resolve, and unfortunately, in this case, yeah, this took 7 years, almost 7 years to the day when it happened. So yeah, the Hall of Fame agreed to pay a 750,000 settlement in a lawsuit filed by ticket holders who did not receive compensation for the game that got canceled. So those who had receipts to document the expenses and those who did not were part of this settlement saying, hey, we paid a lot of money to see this game, and unfortunately, due to poor field conditions, we didn't get our money's worth. And well, I hope they got their money's worth because $750,000, that's a lot of money.
Oh yeah, and just to come up with an agreement years later, like I said, it takes years to figure this stuff out of court. So
Yeah, yeah. So we see as that in his aftermath slide, you got to see like some of the good, bad, and the unusual. It's like again, they were able to like Hall of Fame's like, okay, let's move the game to Thursday. Still have the ceremony on Saturday. So that's worked out since 2017. Of course, Green Bay and Indianapolis, where play remain preseason game and meet again the regular season. And but of course, with the fans, they had to get some compensation as well. Because again, they paid a like big thing. I'm going to bring up again. Round trip. That's the big one because you're going round trip to go to the Hall of Fame because it's a you ever go there, folks. It's worth the trip. And also the Hall of Fame game. It's again it doesn't mean much, but you get to see your favorite team and players um, duke it out in Canton, where the Pro Football was born. And unfortunately for the fans that weekend, they they didn't get that honor.
right, and just to reiterate a question you had earlier, I'm gonna revise my answer here. I have been to Ohio, but I've never been to the Hall of Fame, which I still need to check out. And I actually got some family in Ohio, and then which I'll see sooner rather than later. Um, yeah, I definitely need to check the Hall of Fame out when I'm in Ohio next time around, whenever that will be. So just to answer your question, Amir, I've been to the state of Ohio, but I've never been to the Hall.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. And one more thing before we wrap things up, and of course, if y'all were paying attention to saw the Hall of Fame game last week between the Bears and Texans, that game also luckily was able to take place, but unfortunately that got called late in the third quarter due to inclement weather, which has also been an issue with the Hall of Fame game in years past. That several games have been, fortunately, called off midway through in contest due to inclement weather. So it's just it just goes to show you even today that a lot games in the preseason and regular season have been impacted either due to poor weather or poor field conditions. But in the main well, it upsets the fans and the players. At the same time, we want to make sure everyone gets out, enjoys the experience, and no one gets hurt.
Right, exactly, for sure. That's definitely a good way to put it.
Yep. So that wraps up that episode. Again, season's approaching, or season's here. I mean, heck, I know everyone's excited. I know we are. 'Cause, it's another season that we get to see our favorite teams play. Bolton definitely improved from last year, make it to the playoffs. And before we wrap up, we will be starting a new segment starting in the regular season with NFL picks, where we're picking each game, all the games, who will win, and also there'll be 2 games that we will be covering, throwback games in relation to that week. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for that, folks, because it's going to be season is fast approaching.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to that, and looking forward to starting that with you. And that being said, you can stop sharing the screen, and so we can get along with the outro here of this episode. So, folks, if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe, subscribe. There we go, and follow our Instagram page at Doubleheader97 or just at Doubleheader. We have a Spotify account which is called Doubleheader Podcast, and we've just started our community tab. And again, on YouTube, we apologize for the delay on that. We had a tough time figuring that out, but it is up and running with a post that was created earlier in the week, I should say. And if you want to check that out, feel free and to check out more updates rather than just the Instagram page, the Spotify page. Feel free to check that part on that end as well. So, with that being said, Amir, do you have anything else to add?
Nope. Just again, Amy Tad's up. New segment coming out during the NFL season. So stay tuned. Stay tuned to that. And like I said, NFL's back, and we're looking forward to it. And so are you guys.
Absolutely. I already believe it's going to be 3 weeks away as of this recording, or actually a month away if you're talking the regular season, right?
Yep, that's right.
That's right. Yeah, that's crazy. We're just now entering a new month of August, and hard to believe we're already here. And we're a couple episodes in. We're doing pretty well, and I'm looking forward to see what's next.
I agree. Can't wait.
Can't wait. Well, with that said, this has been Doubleheader with Keenan Costain, Amir Daniel. And until next time, have a good one, folks.
Have a good one, folks.